Floyd, you made 230, and I get it, Skip. I can just imagine getting a check for $230 million. Like, hold on, I ain't see I, R, or S in that ring taking no blows, and I'm supposed to send them. Yep, you're supposed to send them their cut. That's the way it works. And what's so disappointing with me, Skip? Floyd Mayweather has gone through this before. What is it that you don't get? And I'm even more disappointed because you're on Instagram and on Twitter flaunting your
Is Mayweather broke?
Are y'all new here?
Yeah. Is he broke?
Yeah.
He's broke.
4 years, Floyd Mayweather didn't just market himself as one of the greatest boxers of all time. He marketed himself as the ultimate symbol of financial domination. He wasn't simply selling wins, belts, or an undefeated record. He was selling an image of total control. The message was always bigger than boxing. Floyd wanted people to believe he had beaten the sport, beaten the business, and beaten life itself. Money Mayweather was never just a nickname. It became a full identity, a living brand, and a non-stop performance designed to tell the world that he wasn't just successful, he was untouchable.
No, what do you make of it?
No, I don't like it. Skip, the man has made over $500 million.
$500 million?
In his last 3 fights. You're 50-0. You said you want to retire at 50-0. You said this was the last. Skip, I watched him be talking to Stephen A. Says, I'm done. I ain't coming back for no amount of money. I'm done. Come on, man. Come on, Floyd. This should be beneath.
That image was built with ruthless consistency. Private jets, supercars, luxury homes, casino nights, stacks of cash, diamond-heavy watches, designer outfits, VIP entrances, massive entourages. Everything about Floyd's public presentation was engineered to make people feel like they were looking at a man who had reached a level of power most people could never imagine. Every photo, every clip, every interview, every flex sent the same message. I am richer than you, smarter than you, and far beyond ordinary people's problems. For a long time, that strategy worked perfectly.
He's really gone.
Yeah, that's what you think. It's get the money, spend the money.
All that money.
Yeah, it took been 2 years.
So is it just his overhead is so high on a day-to-day, month-to-month? Like
I don't even want to talk about it. Like with the lifestyle, that money is gone. Trust me. Now it's like you call him, he'll be at your local host in a nightclub because you need that action right now.
Do you think?
But now that image is being challenged more aggressively than ever, and Shannon Sharpe has become one of the most direct voices leading that challenge. What makes Shannon's criticism so powerful is that he is not just asking whether Floyd has money. That would be too simple. Shannon is asking something much deeper, much more uncomfortable, and much more revealing. He is asking, if your wealth is really that secure, why do you feel the need to prove it over and over again, almost every single day?
It's worse, your jeweler filed a lawsuit against you in Miami. And many are saying you're gonna have to sell off your assets. I hate seeing this happen, bro. As I've always said, it's hard to make money, but it's even harder to keep it. Floyd.
That question cuts deeper than people realize because real wealth usually doesn't move like that. Real wealth is often quiet. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need daily confirmation from strangers. It doesn't need endless reminders, endless captions, endless displays, endless proof. Truly secure money doesn't panic. It doesn't shout. It doesn't perform. It sits still, grows in silence, and creates peace. That's why Shannon's point lands so hard, because Floyd's public image doesn't always look like peace. It often looks like maintenance.
Yeah, as you often say, you're just a guy with a job. I have a job, though. So who would you fight next?
And guess what? Your job don't pay like my job.
Well, it depends.
Your job don't pay like my job.
That brings me to another point. Why are you coming back?
I can make $200 million in 18 months because I want to. Because I want to come back and steal some more money. Is that okay with you?
It's fine.
Okay,
I enjoy watching your fights.
Okay.
Who might be next?
And that's where the whole conversation starts to shift. What once looked like supreme confidence can begin to feel like constant performance. What once looked like domination can begin to feel like overcompensation. The louder someone insists that everything is perfect, the more people start wondering what they are trying so hard to keep buried. Shannon's criticism isn't really about envy, and it isn't just about money. It's about the psychology of needing the world to see you as powerful every single day, even when you claim to already have everything.
Money made all day. You know, right here, a light million. Over there, counting up another million over there. Walk with me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take you into my life. So Andrew Jackson, of course, is on the 20.
The contradictions only get louder from there. Floyd speaks like a man whose money can never run out. He talks in giant numbers. He presents himself as though financial pressure is something that belongs to everyone else. He acts like stress, bills, debt, and uncertainty are for ordinary people, not for someone operating on his level. But then, at the same time, the public keeps hearing about tax questions, money disputes, overdue issues, betting chatter, and recurring conversations that don't fit neatly with the image of endless financial peace.
Of boxing. Just
Also
like
money.
Just like but I don't even think he don't need any money.
He spends so much money.
Yeah, but he don't need any. Floyd,
Are you sure?
Yeah, Floyd good.
I bet if he's playing for the future, you got to keep it coming in if you're going to keep spending the way he spends.
Yeah, but I think he has a lot of other business interests that he can get money from.
Hopefully.
And not just boxing. But it's the drug of getting Floyd still.
Now, to be fair, rich people absolutely can have obligations. Rich people deal with taxes. Rich people deal with investments, lawsuits, delayed payments, business structures, and complicated financial situations all the time. That alone does not prove somebody is broke. But Shannon's real point is not that Floyd can't have financial responsibilities. His point is that Floyd built an entire brand around the idea of complete money mastery. So when financial noise keeps appearing around that brand, every little question becomes a much bigger story than it would for someone else.
He was 84-0, right? 89, 90-0 before he lost.
89-0.
Wow.
So it's
Don't
not,
tell me about you the greatest fighter with 50-0, nigga. You're great, no doubt about it, nigga. 50-0. Chavez had 90.
Yeah.
He's fighting like what, 8 times a year.
Yeah, it's more to it than
whoever
that.
fought him. Whoever's in the ranking.
Well, I think it's all subjective.
Picking whoever you are, come on.
I think there are more metrics and more measures.
That is why this no longer feels like a simple money conversation. It has become a conversation about the gap between the brand and the behavior. If you project total control, then every sign of strain becomes magnified. If you market yourself as the smartest financial figure in boxing, then every public dispute, every questionable story, every awkward explanation, and every rumor of pressure hits twice as hard. Floyd didn't just create a rich guy image. He created an image of absolute financial invincibility. That's why even small cracks suddenly look huge.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
And I'm pointing like this because all of them. We're in New York City right now. We're in Manhattan. That's what we do. Come on.
One of the biggest reasons people keep questioning the image is Floyd's continued return to exhibition fights and spectacle events. This is where critics like Shannon Sharpe start getting really sharp. Because if Floyd's empire is truly as massive and secure as advertised, why does he keep stepping back into the spotlight for events that do almost nothing for his legacy? Why keep coming back for shows, novelty fights, and attention-heavy appearances that generate headlines and quick revenue but add very little to his greatness as a boxer?
See that he's lying and fraud, and when you look into his paperwork, everybody say the paperwork's still into the person name who owned it. So he going around fraud and taking false pictures.
That is what makes these exhibitions feel so revealing. They do not look like the moves of a man resting in complete freedom. They do not look like the actions of someone peacefully enjoying a legacy already secured. They look like cash flow events. They look like brand refreshes. They look like moments designed to keep the machine fed. Shannon's criticism here is simple but devastating. If the empire is truly secure, why does it always seem to need another top-up? Why does there always seem to be another event, another appearance, another payday waiting around the corner?
Arnold Schwarzenegger, limited edition AP, all factory. 1.8 million right here. The $20 bills section. We like to call this the Andrew Jackson section, but I like to call it wallpaper. 200,000 in 20s. I heard in the song you can get the biggest Chanel bag in the store if you want it. Well, it's the biggest Chanel bag in the world.
And that's the difference between business and pressure. Floyd's defenders say he is just smart, just maximizing his name, just taking easy money because he can. And maybe there is truth in that. But critics see something else. They see a man who cannot afford to let the image go quiet. They see a man who has built a lifestyle so large, so expensive, and so public that standing still may actually be more dangerous than staying active. In that reading, the exhibitions are not a victory lap, They are maintenance work.
That's Money May, Aaron Mayweather 2. No Money Green on him. Change it up. Change it up. Change it up. That's what we do. There you go. There you go. There you go. That's what we did. I need everybody, all the fighters all around the world. MMA, boxers, follow this man right here. We getting the job done. Money May, and y'all know the rest.
That is also why Joe Rogan's criticism hits from a different angle. Rogan has often focused less on the headlines and more on the lifestyle itself. His point is brutally simple. Floyd lives at a level that requires constant fuel. Private flights, giant entourages, luxury properties, expensive watches, exotic cars, gambling, parties, public flexes, non-stop travel. That machine is expensive. It does not slow down on its own. It has to be fed. So Rogan's question becomes clear.
Me and my buddy got it clear.
We said as long as it's 10 or 20, no problem. Anything less, can't be less than 10, because then we're struggling for money.
I had to show Eddie some of the account. Eddie, hold on.
Imagine how much money Floyd Mayweather would have made if I was his promoter back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Two hungry fuckers for money.
Mike Tyson brings another layer to the conversation because Tyson has seen both sides of wealth in the harshest possible way. He has experienced the thrill of having it all and the nightmare of losing it. So when Tyson talks about money, people listen differently. Tyson's instinct has often been that Floyd earned his fortune and should enjoy it. That part is fair. But Shannon Sharpe sees an important distinction. Enjoying luxury is one thing. Needing public validation through luxury is something else. One is pleasure. The other can become dependence.
Crazy that everybody keep asking me, why you not coming back to fight? Why you not coming back to fight? So I look at the fight game, I said, okay. I said, fighters fighting, they make 3 million, 4 million, 6 million, 7 million. Some may make 10 or 20 million. But I'm doing exhibitions and I'm making 20, 25 million, 100 million for exhibitions. So why would I come back and fight?
And once people start seeing Floyd through that lens, every unrelated controversy begins hitting harder than it normally would. A questionable property story becomes more damaging. A public claim about ownership or status becomes more vulnerable to scrutiny. A business dispute suddenly stops looking like an isolated issue and starts looking like evidence of a larger pattern. That's the danger of building your identity around visible wealth. Once doubt enters the public mind, every symbol of status turns into a fact-check challenge.
Just another ordinary day, chilling in an EWB Rolls Royce. For those that don't know what an EWB is, that's an extended wheelbase Rolls Royce. I need the leg room. I know I ain't that tall.
That is why critics keep saying Floyd is no longer just selling success. He is selling the theater of success. The story always has to end with him appearing richer, bigger, louder, and more superior than everybody watching. It is never enough for him to simply be wealthy. He has to be seen as the richest. It is never enough to be successful. He has to look untouchably successful. But when the performance becomes too obvious, the audience starts questioning the set, the props, the lighting, and finally the entire production itself. That's also why comments from people like Stephen A. Smith land with so much weight. When criticism comes from random internet trolls, it can be dismissed as jealousy or cheap shots. But when respected voices sound more concerned than hateful, that hits differently. Stephen A.'s comments have often carried a tone of disappointment rather than mockery, as if he is looking at someone he once admired and wondering whether the weight of the image has become too heavy. That kind of criticism is far more dangerous than trash talk because it sounds less like attack and more like warning. Then there are old-school boxing voices like James Toney, who represent a completely different value system. To people like Toney, greatness is supposed to be raw, dangerous, gritty, and less polished. Floyd's brilliance has never really been denied, but his carefully managed career, his business-first mindset, and his constant image control have always frustrated a certain kind of boxing fan. To them, Floyd mastered timing, matchmaking, and money so well that some of the romance of greatness got lost along the way. Fair or unfair, that criticism follows him everywhere. Now add the financial controversies back into the picture and the whole thing becomes even messier. Tax chatter, crypto-related questions, unresolved payment talk, rumors about money owed, public disputes. All of it makes Floyd's non-stop flexing feel riskier. Because if these issues are truly nothing, then the easiest response would be calm stability. But instead, the public often sees another post, another spectacle, another huge flex, another business angle, another event. That doesn't quiet the conversation. It keeps the conversation alive, and every extra cycle chips away at the brand. That may be why more people are starting to say Floyd doesn't just want to be rich. He wants to be seen as richer than everybody else at all times. And that is a massive difference. One is financial. The other is psychological. The first is about security. The second is about identity. Once wealth becomes something you must constantly display in order to protect who you believe you are, it stops feeling like freedom. It starts feeling like pressure. It starts feeling like a role. It starts feeling like a mask you can never take off. And that is where the legacy damage begins. Because every new influencer-style appearance, every exhibition, every gambling headline, every luxury post, and every resurfacing money dispute creates more distance between two versions of Floyd Mayweather. There is the disciplined, genius-level champion whose brilliance inside the ring earned respect from even his harshest critics. And then there is the celebrity figure who seems increasingly trapped in a cycle of proving, flexing, and maintaining an image that may no longer feel as solid as it once did. The first version inspired admiration. The second invites suspicion.